drill down to these questions that I put in the email. Did you have a strategy, Lucian, when you wrote your essays? Did you were there certain points you wanted to make? Did you do some research before you applied? Which schools did you apply to?
Yeah, so I only applied to 4 schools. I applied to UC Berkeley, UC Santa Barbara, UC San Diego, and MIT. But that's also because I applied early to MIT and I got accepted early.
Got it.
So I was able to like not drop a lot of my applications.
Got it. Got it.
As far as my strategy for writing essays, it kind of varied depending on what school. So MIT, for example, has their own essays that you have to write that are completely separate from anything else in the Common App or in any of the UC apps or anything. So those ones were very specific, and I took a lot of time kind of tailoring my answers to fit the theme that MIT kind of strives for, which is passion and ingenuity / curiosity.
Great.
For the other essays that were more standardized, you kind of just have to take like a stance that generally fits like most schools. So, you know, like their emphasis on like motivation to like do work and like learn. I feel like those are all like common themes for most colleges that they like respect and admire. And also like maturity and like the ability to lead. I feel like they really like to see, because a lot of people are like good at school and can get A's and stuff. So it's how you can differentiate yourself from everyone else that's also extremely smart.
Right.
And quite frankly, probably a lot of them like are better at school than we are. Like there are some really, really genius people out there.
Yeah.
And so it's how do you differentiate yourself from all of those people who like you that are really probably good at school.
I couldn't agree with you more that the essay is all about what's the other side of the coin besides your grades. Anyone that applies to MIT has good grades. And I also like your comment, Lucian, that different schools look for different things. MIT looks for entrepreneurship and ingenuity. And I know, hi Ari, I know Ari is applying to Caltech, and I suspect they look more for rigor and sort of scientific.
Yeah, I think Caltech, I mean, Caltech is a little bit of both, I'd say. They definitely do admire that curious spirit. Although they tend to be more on that research side.
Yeah.
But I think honestly, demonstrating your curiosity in like a scientific field is very important for both of those schools. And some kind of passion, showing that you have like some idea of what you want to do with the knowledge that you would get at a school like that.
Yeah, you have a vision for the future.
Yeah. Like for example, I was applying under mechanical engineering, so I like under the reason why I wanted to do mechanical engineering, I basically just talked about the fact that learning how to use these like tools, these mathematical tools and engineering type skills would allow me to basically follow my passion to like help people and like improve the world in like any way, right? Because like mechanical engineering can teach you how to do a lot of different things, and you can kind of go anywhere with that. And so that's how I guess demonstrated my passion and curiosity for that kind of stuff. And I feel like that was pretty important to do.
Cool. May I ask, Lucian, how much time you spend on your essays? I know some people write quick and others slow, but if you take all of the research you did and the iterations of your essays, do you have an idea? Was it like you spent a month or so, and then in that month you were working on it a few hours a day, or you did it all in 1 week? How did you manage your time?
Yeah. It's really hard to quantify that.
Yeah.
Because I did it so long ago, but
yeah.
If I were to guess, I would assume that I did them over the span of a month, like my MIT essays, which is just 3 short answers that are each 350 words.
Yeah.
I would say I spent probably a month on those 3 essays and really put a lot of my time into those, had many iterations, completely changed some of them. I started with one thing, and by the end of it, it was a completely different essay with a different theme and different topic.
Why did you change? Did you get feedback, or
Yeah,
did you just read it and decide it's
yeah,
not?
I was writing these essays. I would write them and I would send them to my sister, who is a pretty skilled writer, I'd say. I mean, I think she has a very different mindset about the world than I do. So it was really cool to have that blend of input.
How interesting. Like, for example, what's her perspective versus your perspective? How did you make compromises to include a broader perspective?
Yeah, I guess she was more experienced. So she would point out when I was being like too humble or like downplaying an event, or if I was talking about something or like using some kind of experience in my life, how to detach from sharing about it and transition more to describing how it affected me, because that's really what they care about. They don't care about whatever event it is. Like if you're writing about something challenging in your life, they don't really care what it was, because it's not a place to like pout.
Right.
It's a place to show how you adapt to challenging stimuli. And so they want you to talk about how you grew as a person, how you changed in response to something traumatic like that.
Wow.
And that was something that didn't occur to me at first. But she showed me, and honestly, I think that resulted in like my best college essay out of all of them was taking that into account.
I think that's a really, really valuable point. They don't want to read about some philosophy. They want to read about how you react to that philosophy. They don't want to hear about the details of some project you did. They really want to hear about the process, your thinking process when you develop. Is that
yeah?
Summarize?
That's how I would say.
Yeah.
That's how that works for the essays. But during the other parts of your application, it is definitely very important to showcase the details of like projects, to show that you're like very thorough and to really describe to them like what is going on. But that's like a different section than essays for like side projects, and like that's where you would put your like portfolio and stuff.
Right. So I've read 3 of Ari's essays, and I know he talked about Invention Universe and some of the tools that he used. That's okay to mention the tools. What I'm hearing you saying, it's then why those tools sort of opened your eyes. That
basically like what it is that you gained as a person from that event.
Cool. I like that.
How does that event make you a better applicant and someone that they would want in their school?
Yeah.
What skills do you have now that you didn't have?
Yeah. Got it. All right. This is a chance to ask Lucian any questions, specific or general.
I had a question.
Sure.
So, from what I've seen from like online resources, like for the personal statement, I've heard that it's good to, like, especially if you have a common topic, to somehow write it from an uncommon perspective, or like somehow differentiate yourself or make it unique. And I was wondering, like, if you did write about a common topic or something that a lot of people might have done, like, how did you add your own twist to it, I guess?
This is for what part of the application?
The essay.
Oh, I see. The essay, that's just like a description of yourself.
Personal statement?
Yeah. Was that like something you wrote, or is it different for MIT?
So for MIT, they have 3, I can't remember what the exact prompts are, but there's like 3 small prompts they have. One of them's like to describe some big obstacle you've had. Another one, I think, is demonstrating some kind of like scientific desire, or like some reason for your like interest in science because it's a tech school. And then I think the third one might have been a leadership one, like describing some kind of leadership position you've had. So I guess what does it mean to have a personal statement? Like, are you just talking about yourself, or do you have to talk about certain events or something like that?
Yeah, I think, well, there's the Common App prompts, which I understand that you did right, but I think it seems like some of the prompts are like similar to the MIT ones. I think, yeah, there is, I think, one about overcoming a challenge and how that influenced you. So yeah, I guess like what I was asking was if you have a common topic, like say you were in a robotics club or something.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people do that, but how would you kind of make it stand out, or like in your own personal way?
Yeah, so I mean, everyone has slightly different experiences when they go through these similar events, right? That's just like the essence of what it is to be a person, is that like your experiences are inherently different from anyone else's. So if you talk about how this experience affected you in a very personal way, in a personal sense, it's kind of inherently going to be different and unique. So I think just being as genuine as possible and trying to convey, how these events affected you is a good step in the right direction to getting something that seems unique and genuine and that they're going to think is like a valuable piece of information. If that is like helpful at all.
Yeah, thank you.
Unique and genuine. I think those are
like for example, one of my essays I talked about, I was in this program called GATE. I think it might have been phased out by the time you guys were in school, but it was basically gifted and talented education for kids that were like doing well in their classes. So it was like some after school science thing, and a lot of people did it. And I assume a lot of people had experiences that would have been similar to that. But I talked about how it affected me on a personal level to like finish one of my projects. Like there was a specific project I was talking about where I made a model rocket, and we launched them at this Air Force base that was near our like hometown. And I talked about how that like inspired me as like a person of science, right? And I talked about just very personal aspects of it, how my mind space was changed by the event. And so I feel like that's kind of a way to take a very general thing that maybe a lot of people have done and personalize it.
Cool. All right, any reflections to share with Lucian?
Yeah, I think I think you gave some really good advice and ideas that we need to focus more on, the personal aspect of the events that happen to us
Yeah.
Because that's what makes us us.
Right.
And one thing, for when you submitted your application to MIT, did you submit I don't remember what it's called. I think something like maker portfolio or something where you can send in.
Yeah, I
like
had no portfolio at all.
Okay.
Although if you do have one, I would 100% recommend uploading it. I think that's like a very, very valuable piece of information, especially for MIT.
Yeah, I would agree. They would love to see.
Basically, MIT wants to see a very sustained and consistent love for science. They want to see it like throughout your whole life. So if you have things from like your childhood or stories from your childhood that involve science, and you can connect those to what you're doing now as a senior, that's very, very powerful.
Consistent long-term interest is not just a flash in the pan, or that's a great point, Lucian.
Because only the people with a very consistent high level of interest are going to be the ones that are changing the world, and that's kind of what MIT is screening for.
Yeah. Very, very interesting.
And also just generally the rigor of this school, you have to be passionate about what you're doing, or else there's no way you would be able to do it.
Cool. Another thing that comes through, Lucian, when you talk is that you seem to have a sort of philosophical perspective. I know you're interested in philosophy, but what comes across to me is that you take a thoughtful philosophical dimension to your essays or to your line of thinking, and I think that shows some maturity. It shows you need to know the tools, React and Git and so forth, but if you can talk about a philosophy that demonstrates maturity and a deeper thinker. Okay. Well, Lucian, I think it has been very interesting for me to hear you talk about this. I hope it's helpful for you, Sinsen and Ari. And Lucian, you won't mind if I recorded this, if I share it with Andy and a couple of other interns who are going to apply next year?
Yeah, that's fine.
Great. Okay. Last chance to ask questions. Cool. All right. Lucian, eager to follow up on our lunch meeting the other day. So when you have the time and interest, let's drill down on the specifics of next steps.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Have a good evening. Thank you, Lucian. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks.
Thank you, Lucian. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
No problem, guys. Good luck.
Bye.
See you.